Welcome to Friday Friends, RI Elder Info's weekly look at the organizations and individuals providing resources for Rhode Island seniors, caregivers, and professionals.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It is 9 a.m. on Friday, and you are checking out me, Deb Burton, the host of Friday Friends and executive director of RI Elder Info. And for the entire month of November, we are dedicating all of our Friday Friends episodes to information and resources for veterans and their family members in recognition of Veterans Day. Now, as you all know, we are a 501c3 nonprofit, and we could not do Friday Friends in all of our community education and outreach without the support of our sponsors. So a huge thank you to Point 32 Health Foundation, United Healthcare, Oak Street Health, 321 Media, and especially for McCarthy Law. Here's a quick message from McCarthy Law.
Here at McCarthy Law, we practice in the areas of estate planning, long-term care planning, elder care law, and residential real estate. Our focus is really on providing peace of mind to our clients.
If you're interested in scheduling a consultation with our office, you can feel free to reach out to us at 401-541-5540. You can also reach out via website at www.mccarthylawri.com. You also should check out our social media, both on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn for some helpful tips and tricks.
Welcome, my friend EJ McQuaid from the Veterans Benefits Administration. How are you?
Great, Deb. Thanks for having me. So happy to be here and spend some time together.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. You know, the month of November is probably like crazy busy for you. And so I'm really grateful that you could take the time out to do this for us. So I think one of the things I wanted to talk with you about is folks seem to use the VA, the VBA, the Providence VA Medical Center, and the Rhode Island Office of Veterans Services all kind of interchangeably without understanding the difference of what like each one does. Can you tell us, what does the Veterans Benefits Administration do?
Sure, Deb. Happy to. And, let me just say first that we are very much inexplicably intertwined. We work in close partnership and collaboration. So whether Director Kasim Yarn at the state with the Rhode Island Office of Veteran Services, Director Larry Connell and his fantastic staff over at the Medical Center, or my team at the Benefits Office, the regional office, we are very much in close coordination and partnership on all things veterans care, veterans benefits, veterans health, throughout the state of Rhode Island, southeastern Massachusetts, southern New England, and really on a national level as well, as both Larry and I have multiple national programs in our operations. But the benefits for the benefits programs of VA, what I would say are those are all the non-medical programs that VA runs. So at the Rhode Island, at the Providence Regional Office here in Rhode Island, we largely do disability compensation, but VBA itself encompasses all business lines that are non-healthcare. So that would include loan guarantee for VA loans, educational benefits or GI Bill, Chapter 31 and Chapter 33, for those that are familiar with those phrases, and certainly in a state that has so many higher education destination type institutions, that is a huge part of our operation. Also, programs like pension and fiduciary programs are all part of VBA. But all the benefits programs that are non-healthcare in general, but specifically disability compensation and pension programs, which really tend to be the ones that, most veterans are interested in and eligible for and using.
And so disability in relation to receiving payment, but not necessarily the health care related to a disability, right?
So really, service connection, Deb, is the
Okay.
phrase that I think resonates with most veterans as it pertains to disability compensation. So this is any injury, illness that was incurred or aggravated by active duty service, and service connection, being service connected for a disability, is also the gateway to healthcare for that disability, whether that healthcare could be something as significant as a hip replacement, source for a service connected hip injury, or whether it would be hearing aids for hearing loss that was incurred during service, as so often is the case, or just prescription medication. So the two systems, the two programs are very much connected. And service connection for an injury that was incurred or aggravated during service is the gateway to VA healthcare. And you do not need to be service connected to enroll in VA healthcare, but in order to receive disability compensation, you do need to be service connected for that injury or illness, or those injuries or illnesses.
So you can get the VA, you can enroll in the VA healthcare system with Director Connell's team at the Providence VA Medical Center, and it doesn't have to be service connected. That has to do, your office has to do with the actual payment related to that disability.
That's correct, Deb. And I'll
Got
just
it.
take this for a short, public service announcement. And Director Connell does a great job of this, as well as Director Yarn. But any veteran that is served during any era of service or period, I can't encourage you strongly enough to enroll in VA healthcare. It is so important. There has never been anything bad that has come by enrolling in VA healthcare, whether you use it or not. And the fact is, so many folks don't use it until later on in life. And that's why it's so important to enroll early on. And just want to encourage people to do that, whether you served only a short period or whether you served a 30-year plus career. Enrolling in VA healthcare is very important, not only for individuals, but for our country as a whole, because that's how resources get allocated to veterans. So even if you're not doing it for yourself, or you feel like you don't, do it for your fellow veterans. And really just want to encourage that.
Yeah, and the last information I read, and it wasn't that long ago, the Providence VA Medical Center was ranked among the very best in the country. So we really have access to some amazing care providers here in the state.
That is absolutely correct. Not only by VA, but also by other entities that evaluate and provide different levels of rating for healthcare and hospitals and medical centers. The Providence VA healthcare system is proud to be one of the top rated in the country. We have, of course, this incredible affiliation with Brown Medical School, as well as the other medical schools that we're surrounded by. Close partnerships with many of the hospitals. With doctors that work at VA, splitting time between them, and a lot of just fascinating research that occurs here in Providence at the Providence VA Medical Center, in partnership with our academic affiliation with Brown. But it's no secret that veterans make wonderful research subjects, and the research that's being performed here is just fascinating and improving the lives of veterans, not only currently, but certainly future veterans as well.
Absolutely. Now, are you finding, since the PACT Act passed back in 2022, that there are a lot more veterans who are eligible for benefits, but they haven't applied yet?
Absolutely, Deb. What we're seeing is certainly on the eligible side. There are more veterans that are now eligible for VA benefits and VA healthcare through the PACT Act legislation than there ever has been before. It is a revolutionary legislation. It essentially, moves VA from an evidence-based to a presumptive-based service connection, which means that the days where someone had to prove that they incurred an injury or an illness in service, those conditions are now presumptive. Largely right now to toxic exposures, which is the backbone of the PACT Act, and for Agent Orange, which was the NEMR project many years ago, which was sort of put VA on the pathway to presumptive conditions. But certainly more veterans are eligible than there ever have been before. And the other, public service announcement I really wanted to make, and appreciate all those that serve the veteran communities, the veteran advocates out there that help to carry this message. But any veteran that has applied for VA benefits or VA healthcare before and been denied should reapply, should absolutely reapply. And the PAC Act has expanded the aperture for VA benefits, for those that were denied in the past. And that is, largely part of the intention behind the legislation. In regards to your question about folks not applying, so many of the veterans, and I'll just focus here in Rhode Island, who have applied for the PAC Act. Give me 1 second here, Deb, if you could, just for a moment.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. For our viewers, I am at picking up my high schooler, my freshman. So I know nobody's offended by that. Anyway, when it comes to the those that have applied, I'll just focus here in Rhode Island. Certainly, many of those that have taken advantage of the PAC Act legislation were already service connected. They were already in receipt of VA benefits. But to put this into context, just based on the PAC Act alone, in less than 2 years, just here in Rhode Island, we have awarded more than $18 million in disability compensation to Rhode Island veterans. That's just Rhode Island, and more than 4,000 are in receipt of benefits as a result of the PAC Act. Now, many of those veterans were already in receipt of benefits, but now they are in receipt of more benefits, and certainly conditions that they were previously denied have now been granted.
Yeah, I remember, some of our Vietnam era veterans, saying that when they came home, that they were denied benefits, and they found the system really frustrating, and were told, Agent Orange really isn't a thing, and PTSD isn't a thing. And thank goodness that the research has said, oh yes, this is a thing, and we need you to come back. And I know that Senator Reed was instrumental in the PACT Act, so big shout out to Jack Reed on this one. When veterans are applying, what documents do they need to file a claim?
Great. Well, one, I'll just say, Deb, and certainly want to echo, it's an outstanding delegation here in Rhode Island, fiercely committed to veterans, to the veterans of Rhode Island, certainly led by Senator Reed for many years. But when it comes to your question, really, one, we have access, VA does, to any federal records. So anyone who has served, we will obtain those if you don't have them. But commonly, a DD-214 is very helpful, and especially for as Rhode Island specifically has a very proud and a proud history and a thriving Rhode Island Guard. What you end up seeing is service members, especially in the last 2 decades, that have served multiple periods of service, some on active duty, some in the Guard, some while activated while in the Guard, some in different branches of service. It is not uncommon, especially here in Rhode Island, for someone to have served 5 years in the Navy and 5 years in the Rhode Island National Guard. So the DD form, the form DD-214 is always appreciated if someone has one. But through technology, through records retrieval, we can obtain those records. But it's always very helpful if someone has some of those records to bring them in, as well as their service treatment records, if they have them. If they don't, we will obtain them. That is part of our duty to assist. That is a responsibility of the Benefits Administration. And it's all done through technology that we can obtain that information.
Hooray for technology. The government's got technology. Yay. In general, once all the paperwork is together or all of the pieces of the puzzle are connected, how long does it take for an eligible veteran to be approved for benefits?
So, the time frame that we shoot for is 125 days. Any claim that is greater than 125 days in from the time it's filed is considered in a backlog status. So, and it does vary, Deb. It does vary. It depends on whether this is the first time you're applying for a filing a claim for a service connected or service connected disabilities. Overwhelmingly, it's more than just one condition. It would be, say, a back injury and hearing loss, or say a PTSD, a post-traumatic stress disorder, and maybe a traumatic brain injury or something like that was incurred in service. But mostly it's more than one condition. But whether it's your first time applying or whether you're already service connected does drive some of the differences. The goal, regardless, is less than 125 days. And, here in Rhode Island, we normally see most claims processed, just at around the 125 day mark, oftentimes on certain conditions that are already service connected and someone is filing for an increased service connection, but not their first time. It's much less than that. 30 and 60 days is common. And in some cases, let me just say, conditions are decided, disabilities and ratings are delivered when they're ready. So sometimes certain conditions take longer based on diagnostic testing or medical exams that are required to determine the level of service connection. But the claim is not held up based on one condition. We work through the conditions, the contentions as they're referred to individually. So I hope that helps, but it can be confusing. It can be confusing.
So if you're putting in, say, a claim for, I don't know, ankle, knee, hip issues, and then you add in that maybe you have a hearing issue and maybe you have experienced something traumatic and you have post-traumatic stress disorder, you might be approved for the hearing quicker. Then afterwards, maybe the knee gets approved, then the PTSD gets approved, but eventually those things, once evaluated and assessed, but it might take different timelines for each one of those things. Am I understanding that right?
That's correct. That's correct.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome. So then, and it all goes back to the day that the individual submitted the claim, regardless of the time frame it took to approve it, right?
It does. Effective dates, they do vary. And again, oftentimes when someone is filing a claim, it's not a new one. It is a claim for increase or a reopen. So those go back to the original. Those dates are oftentimes the dates can differ. But I would just say for someone who is filing a claim for the first time, the effective date will be the date of the claim, the date of claim.
Okay. So if someone watching wants to apply, do they come down to your office during regular business hours? Do they schedule an appointment? How does that work?
Sure. And I'll say we are located, my office, and for in-person purposes, is located at 380 Westminster in the Providence Federal Building. And we are open for business, walk-in traffic, by appointment. We also have an appointment system, but 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. every Monday through Friday. We also have an office at the Providence VA Medical Center where we work to, again, try to meet veterans where they're at. And we also have an office right in the basement area by the cafeteria and the barber shop, very clearly marked, where we also meet with veterans in person Monday through Friday at the VA Medical Center. Also in partnership with Director Yarn, we do meet with veterans at the Rhode Island Veterans Home, at our many VFW and American Legion posts, at different outreach events. So we are out in the community. We do work hard and in partnership with veteran advocates and veteran organizations to meet veterans where they're at. But Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, you can find us at the Federal Building and at the VA Medical Center. No appointment needed. And we also have an appointment scheduling system called Vera, which is really posted and at really any veteran organization, to include any of our Legion or VFW posts, where you can QR code it for those that are QR coding, and schedule an appointment virtually where you don't need to come in person. And the system, I can assure you, is shockingly easy. It works. We set it up. It can be on the phone, it can be via video, or it can be an appointment for an in-person for folks that prefer that. So, and I did want to really, give a special recognition to our many veteran service organizations here in Rhode Island and throughout Southern New England and nationally that work so hard, to support veterans. They are trained. They are accredited. They are accredited veterans agents, disabled American veterans, veterans of foreign war, American Legion, Massachusetts Veteran Services, of course, Director Yarn's team at the Rhode Island Office of Veteran Services, and to include private attorneys and Chisholm and Kirkpatrick, who is headquartered here in Providence. Also, accredited attorneys that really are on have been on the tip of the spear of veterans law now for several decades. Also, wonderful veterans advocates. But the thing I always want to really emphasize is accredited veterans advocates. I think everyone's heard about claim sharks and unaccredited, bad actors who are really unaccredited veterans advocates. They do not have the VA accreditation that would prohibit and prevent and help to that eradicates some of those bad actors from veterans benefits. But fraud is alive and well in all aspects of and in many of these cases, the awards that we provide, that you are talking large monetary amounts that veterans are entitled to. And there are bad actors out there, largely unaccredited agents or unaccredited individuals who are trying to take advantage of those. So I hope that helps. But, a very special shout out to our service organizations that, really work hard to support veterans and do a wonderful job.
Absolutely. And some of those veteran service organizations have the ability to visit people in their homes, which can be so important for our older veterans and their family who maybe have transportation issues, or they're not really sure about, driving into the city. The city can be really scary. By the way, if somebody wanted to come to your office, you're downtown in the Federal Building, is there parking? Do you validate parking?
So we do have parking there at 380 Westminster. Parking is a challenge in downtown Providence. We do have parking spaces available. Oftentimes folks kind of park on their own. But another reason why the VA Medical Center has that magnificent new parking structure, which I know the team there could not be more proud of. But another location where, parking, free of charge, valet, and certainly, when veterans are there too. So we do have parking available downtown, but oftentimes folks just end up parking on their own. But another reason why the VA Medical Center, we see most of our walk-in foot traffic either by appointment or not by appointment at the VA Medical Center, Deb. That's been the case for many years, and I don't see that change. And a large reason, I think, that we know to be true is, one, veterans are there for other reasons, and there's free parking, and valet parking there as well.
Yes, I confess, I often tell people to go to the Providence VA Medical Center, not to dissuade them from going to your office, but I tell them it's a free valet, so you can drive up to the door. They'll park your car. You don't have to worry about that. You go to the elevators, take them all the way to the basement, turn towards where the barbershop is. The barbershop might have been under construction last time I was there, but if the cafeteria is to your left, go the other way. About 3 doors down on your left, there's a clipboard on the wall. Put your name on the clipboard, and magically somebody comes out of the door and helps you.
Absolutely. And again, just, we're always making efforts to meet veterans where they're at. It's so important. And again, if there's a need to reschedule or do something in a more private setting for whatever reason, we can do that. But the VA Medical Center works out so well. We have 2 offices there. And again, that's where we see the overwhelming majority of our foot traffic.
That is awesome. And what is your contact information again if people want to reach out?
Sure. Well, I'll give my direct email because I think sometimes people appreciate that. It's edward.mcquaid@va.gov. Again, edward.mcquaid@va.gov. And certainly, although I'm not the subject matter expert on everything, I am the director and I'm responsible for everything that happens or fails to happen. So, and I'm proud to have that responsibility. So I will get folks in touch with those that do the work. And then also for any sort of phone call, 401-223-3600 is our direct common line that we answer and return calls from.
That is awesome. 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 And I know like in this busy month, there's a lot of things going on. So I really appreciate you taking the time to come on today because we want to make sure that all of our veterans get every single thing that they are eligible for. They've signed on the dotted line to possibly, lay down their life for me and my freedom. And so I think it's really important that we give them everything that we possibly can for them. So I appreciate you taking the time to come on in this very busy month to come on Friday Friends. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Deb. Really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you again soon.
Absolutely. Everybody, I cannot stress enough, EJ's team is truly amazing. If there is a way that, they need to make accommodations to make sure that a veteran or their family members are able to connect to the benefits that there are out there, EJ is going to find a way to do it. So I strongly encourage you, please share this video with everyone, like, comment, share, bells, whistles, all those social media cues, because Rhode Island has a lot of veterans. Last check, over 60,000 veterans who may be eligible for benefits that they just don't know about, or maybe they applied and were told no before the PACT Act. And it's really important that they reach back out again, because these individuals, again, were willing to put down their life for you and I. So let's do what we can to get them the information and resources that are available. So I thank you all so much for joining me today. I wish all of my veteran friends and associates a wonderful Veterans Day. I look forward to seeing everyone again next week. In the meantime, be well and be kind.
If you like this video, please follow us on social media and subscribe on YouTube. For more information, visit rielderinfo.com or call 401-585-0509. If you have any questions, email deb@rielderinfo.com.